right. All right. It's 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 11 a.m. Pacific on this rather warm February day in Minneapolis. Rather warm. It's actually unusually warm this time of year for Minnesota weather. Today is Sunday, February 15th. I am Wes, the creator, co host, and social media manager of the Star Trek podcast called Twin Cities Trekkies, a Star Trek podcast talking about everything from the original Star Trek all the way to Star Trek Starfleet Academy and everything in between. And we're going to be discussing season 1, episode 6 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Come Let's Away. Before we get into the discussion, the live chat is open, so feel free to stop in and say hello, and feel free to chime in your thoughts about the episode. But to get in touch with us, it is simple. Send us an email at tctrekkiespodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to send us an email with anything you'd like to say. If the episode of Starfleet Academy was one of your favorites, it wasn't one of mine, but it was definitely a good one. You can definitely let us know, and I'll gladly read your email on the air. If you want to leave a comment on social media, that's perfectly fine as well. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. You can find us on Facebook at TC Trekkies Pod. Instagram is Twin Cities Trekkies Pod, all one word. Or you can search out TC Trekkies on Blue Sky to follow us there. Or you can follow us on TikTok when you go to Twin Cities Trekkie. You can also leave a comment on the Spotify of the episode when the live stream audio is available on Tuesday evenings at 6 p.m. Central. You can definitely do that. Leave your comments there. Post it. It'll take about a day to post it after. It'll generate an email to us about a day later, and I can read your comment there. But just keep in mind that any emails or comments could be read on a future episode of Twin Cities Trekkies. Okay, so before we get into the episode, I want to let you guys know about a few things regarding Twin Cities Trekkies. First of all, you got last weekend, I had to cancel the live stream for season 1, episode 5, series Acclamation Mill. This was due to kind of like a medical emergency, not having to happen with me, but with my wife. So we had to go to the emergency room that time. Around that time, we were going to do the live stream for that episode. However, the review for that episode is a part of episode number 114, which just dropped on Friday, called State of the Podcast 3, with the subtitle. As of Tuesday, we are now 5 years old, so I decided to do a 5-year anniversary episode of Twin Cities Trekkies. So I'm kind of excited about the fact is that we've been doing this for 5 years, and I have to thank Kenzie. I have to thank everybody who's been a part of the show, being a guest on the show for the last 5 years. I have too many to mention, but people like Ashley and Rihanna from the Russ Sisters, Adrienne and Sophia from Where's Beverly, Lars and Brandon from Treknicity, Lars again from Treknicity, Greg Verab, Holly from Five-ish Fangirls, Joe and Nicole Praska from Deep Space Love, and Joe again from Deep Space Love. Zach and I forgot the other guy's name now. From the Red and Red Shirts podcast. I forgot the name. No. The guy who does Trash Compactor Pod. And a lot of other people. TJ from Trooper Station. So a lot of guests we've had over the past 5 years. Mary Fouds, Alex Brisson from Star Trek: The Original Siblings podcast, Richard Best from Nerd Hat. I'm trying to get a guest shot on his show again. I was on the show last year, for a bonus episode with trying to compare DS9 with Voyager. I defended Voyager while the other guest had defended Deep Space Nine. And that was really hard because I enjoyed Deep Space Nine more than I do Voyager. But I'm hoping to get on his show soon. but for the seventh season. So Nerd Hat Pod and stuff like that. Um, what's his name? Greg, aka Captain Kirk and Cocktails. Yeah, talking about Star Trek Five, and then Zach from the Casual Trekker podcast to talk about Star Trek 2009. Well, I think I named them all, but if I miss anybody, I'm sorry. But I'm thinking of I've got Katie Nicolau and Linda Pages from the Transport and stuff like that. Everybody who's been a part of the show for the past 5 years, thank you so much, and and stuff like that. So it's been a really fun ride for the last 5 years. As of Tuesday, we started this podcast back in 2021, and we're very excited to start in this sixth year of doing Twin Cities Trekkies. Kenzie hasn't been on the show yet this year, but we're hoping to get her on sometime this year. So 5 years. She's been on the show most of the time, some of the time, since 2022. But the most recent one she was on was our live 100th episode back in November. But definitely about that. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot of fun doing 5 years of this podcast, and I'm hoping to do another 5 years. I have not. I so that was that. So pretty much that is pretty much what episode 114 is all about. It's about reviewing series Acclamation Mill and also celebrating the 5th anniversary of Twin Cities Trekkies. So check out episode 114 in your favorite podcast feed. It's available to find and stuff like that. I'm working on episode 115, which will be dropping this Friday. We're gonna kick off our celebrations by I'm gonna talk about my top episodes from each season from both Star Trek Enterprise and Star Trek the original series, because those that could be it's good enough for have to combine them for one episode at least. So, but this is going to start in earnest regarding talking about that and stuff like that. So I'll bring the 25th anniversary of Enterprise and the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. So, but if you're interested in celebrating it throughout the year, let us know. You can DM us on Instagram. You can DM us on social media and stuff like that. I know I have some interest regarding that, so I'll be reaching out to them probably pretty soon within the next few weeks to talk about that and get that started, because there's a lot of things we could talk about for Twin Cities Trekkies for those particular anniversaries. And then also we're going to be starting pretty soon, probably within the next couple months, starting the second version of the Star Trek film extravaganza. We're going to be celebrating 6 films that have anniversaries or considered part of the Star Trek franchise, honorary members of Star Trek franchise. I mean, granted, I could have done one of them in 2024, but I didn't. I didn't think about it till after the fact. But so we're going to be celebrating the 4 Star Trek films that have anniversaries this year that had fallen on the anniversary year of the franchise, which are Voyage Home, Undiscovered Country, First Contact, and Beyond. But then we're also going to be talking about Spaceballs, which, considering that Spaceballs 2 is coming out in 2027, and also Galaxy Quest. So, because Galaxy Quest is considered an honorary member of the Star Trek film franchise, even though it's not a Star Trek film, even though it really does. It's a spoof of the Star Trek franchise, and it's a really fun spoof. So, so we didn't do. So we're going to be covering all of them in 2026. But hopefully, if you had listened to episode 114, I'm going to let you guys know here right now on the live stream. Starting last week, which was February 9th, SAG-AFTRA has started their negotiations with the AMPTP, which is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which also includes the various streamers, which includes Paramount, and all. And it involves those things. Well, we're optimistic about having a deal struck between them and SAG-AFTRA. However, the contract that they had negotiated for was back in 2023, was at the end of 2023, ratified in early 2020, late 2023, because that particular contract was struck after 5 months of striking, from July to December of 2023. If the deal is not done by June 30th, we will go dark again. We will go dark again, because that's what we did in 2023. I will admit that was very, very hard, as a podcast creator, because while we're not a rewatch podcast, while we're not an official podcast of Paramount / Skydance, the owners of the franchise, owners of the Star Trek franchise, we feel that if we were to talk about Star Trek in any sort of podcast form, that would be considered struck work by the actors. And we would show solidarity with our fellow Star Trek actors. So their current deal that they had negotiated after 5 months of striking, ends on June 30th, 2026. If they go on strike after the deal has come and gone with no new deal in place, if they make the authorization to strike, we will go dark. We will be active on social media. We were active during the strikes last time, because we kept on saying, "Hey, we're still around. We're still around." We don't want to go completely dark. We want to engage with you folks. We want to engage with you fans out there. But that's a sign of the times. We did this back in 2023. Like I said, it was very, very hard because 2023 was the 30th anniversary of Deep Space Nine. So, and I ended up having to delay that celebration by a year because of it. But that's okay. We called it 30 plus years because of that. And I mentioned it numerous times since we were delayed 1 year due to the SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes. So that's what happened. So we will go dark again if SAG-AFTRA goes on strike again. Okay? We're showing solidarity with our fellow Star Trek actors. We are pro-union, so we are definitely going to show solidarity with our fellow Star Trek actors. I don't know if the WGA is their deal is still active past June 30th, but if the same thing with them, yeah, we will still go dark. Say if SAG-AFTRA goes dark, if SAG-AFTRA doesn't strike, but the WGA does, yeah, we will still go. We will still go dark, because the writers write the lines for our fellow actors to act. So it's like a yin and a yang kind of situation here. You write the words, they act the words. So it's a yin and yang situation. So that's what we'll do. So I'm just going to let you guys know ahead of time that if that happens, we will go dark. So we don't know exactly. We were optimistic about that deal. Granted, it just started negotiations this past week. I'm sure with Sean Austin, the president of SAG-AFTRA, Rudy from the movie Rudy, and you know him from obviously other such roles he's done over the years, and with Picard's Michelle Hurd being the secretary treasurer of the union. We're optimistic about a deal. We got about 3.5 months to go, but before the deal they currently have lapses. So if that like I said, if that happens, we'll go dark. That would be no episodes past that date, the strike date. So if we are in the middle of a celebration, or we're in the middle of say we're in the middle of season 4 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and we're doing live streams, if those strikes happen while we're doing the middle of the live stream season, we're not doing any more of them. We're not going to do any more of them. So we would come back. We would review them. The rest of them we would cover them in one live stream if that would have happened. And the same thing with our celebrations too. We would just extend them into 2027 if you get a deal struck by the end of the year. Obviously, if that happens again, but definitely, that's what's going to happen. So I know I'm in a more cheerful mood now because I mean, granted, I'm a little bit more cheerful mood today because I don't know, I don't know if you all know this, but um, I'm a little bit optimistic about just a little bit, but not completely, about what's going on here in the Twin Cities regarding immigration enforcement. Operation Metro Surge is ending within the next few weeks, and they're going to be drawing down and stuff like that. It doesn't mean they're not still going to be around. It's still going to be around. We just hope that there will be actually the most of the bulk of the people who have been here are gone. We just need to see action. I mean, granted, I don't believe it because this administration lies and grifts like the next people, but but definitely, that's something on my mind. I wanted to mention too because it's been hard doing these live streams, and we've had Metro Surge happening in the background of this, because where I am, in relative what happened with Renee Good and Alex Preddy, in Minneapolis, I'm about a mile and a half away from that. So, and the city of Minneapolis came out with an estimate this past week about after the announcement of that we're going to wind it down, was that it was a cost of $203 million of lost revenue, and it's kind of sad. So, but I just want to let you guys know there's plenty of the businesses out there are probably still going to keep their fundraisers going, because this surge of immigration enforcement officers has destroyed their bottom lines. I mean, people are afraid to go out in Minneapolis. I mean, granted, now you can go out now because it's so nice out. It's 50 degrees outside. But but I hope that if you are financially able to, go find any of the restaurants. I think there are a few of them I can mention off the top of my head, like A League of Their Own and stuff like that, which is a women's sports bar and stuff like that. They have GoFundMes and online fundraisers out there that plenty of those businesses along the East Street area of Minneapolis and beyond. That's where Alex Preddy was murdered, was on the East Street, which is known for, it's on Nicollet past 20th Street. 20 past Franklin Avenue, which is not that far away from here, like about half mile away. But definitely, I encourage you, if you're financially able, if you're in the Twin Cities, go check out their restaurants. Go be in their restaurants. Go patronize their restaurants. But if you can't, if you're not from the Twin Cities, if you're you're watching this live stream later, or you're listening to it later and you're from outside the Twin Cities area, there are plenty of the businesses around the Twin Cities area that are struggling financially right now because of Operation Metro Surge. And I really hope that you will go out there and find them on the internet, find them on their social medias, like their Instagrams or Facebooks or something like that. There are links to their various fundraisers they're setting up. They've set up over the last few weeks to help employees with lost wages, with their the expense of purchasing materials so they can make food and stuff like that, because it's been very hard for them. And I hope that I hope that the city can recover. I mean, we lived through the George Floyd. I mean, I lived through the George Floyd riots. It was hard. I mean, it was hard. I mean, that was almost 6 years ago now. But we lived through the George Floyd riots. We were able to bounce back, and then this happens. So hopefully you can bounce back again from such a big thing that's happening. So, but that's what I'm hoping for. That's like that the city of Minneapolis can recover. So if you can, if you're like I said, if you're financially able, go find the various restaurants, various businesses, like small businesses along South Minneapolis and beyond the Twin Cities area that are struggling. There are plenty of them who are struggling right now. Plenty of them because of what happened, you know. And hopefully we can recover from this because it's going to be a lot, folks. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be what did Governor Walz say? A generational trauma. So Governor Walz had called it a generational trauma, and I actually agree with him on that. So he is probably absolutely right. I just want to say this first too. For those who really want to do this, I hope that you do that. I hope you do that, because that's my personal recommendation. Go find the local restaurants that are struggling. There are plenty of them here in Minneapolis. There are plenty over across the river in St. Paul, which has also experienced the same kind of surge that we have here in Minneapolis. No one's died in St. Paul, but we've had two in Minneapolis from ice. But they've been harassing St. Paul businesses for a while. So people like small businesses here in Minneapolis and across the river in St. Paul, please, I beg you, as a Twin Cities resident, I hope that you will do that. I just hope you will do that because I'm using this platform to say, hey, we're struggling. We're struggling here. We need you to help us out. So help us out and help them out financially. Help us out mentally because we could use your care and stuff like that. I one thing I want to say before we go into Starfleet Academy about what's going on. I have been applauding everybody who is not from Minnesota, who has shown solidarity with us here in what's going on. I am extremely proud of that fact. I'm extremely proud of that. And I will forever be in your debt because it's been really stressful. My stress level has gone so high in the past few months because of what's happened. Especially with Alex Preddy and Renee Good being murdered by ICE. And almost another tragedy that happened in North Minneapolis shortly after Renee Good was murdered. I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I hope that, as we recover from this, that things will get better. I hope so. I mean, I really hope so. I'm optimistic and stuff like that. Same with right now. I'm feeling optimistic about that. So I wanted to say thank you so much for that. Okay. What other things about Twin Cities Trekkies I can mention? Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to mention before we get into the episode. You'll see me on Crusher Convo this Friday evening, February 20th. Where we'll be talking about Star Trek Discovery. Both Jesse and I are going to be talking about Star Trek Discovery. Jesse is her first time watching the show. Me, I am slowly rewatching Discovery. I've been slowly rewatching it for the last couple of months. So I'm slowly rewatching it. It's going to be fun. So you'll be tuning in to Crusher Convo this Friday. So I think it'll be around 6 p.m. Central. So I could be wrong, but I'm looking forward to hearing from her soon and finding out what exactly we're going to be talking about regarding Discovery because there's a lot of nuances in the first season. The first season is actually really enjoyable to watch. I said that to Jason from Recommendations a few weeks ago. So I said that a few weeks ago. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Crusher Convo this Friday. So, okay. So about the episode, Come Let's Away. First of all, I don't like the title. That's one thing I do not like about this episode. It's the title. I wish it would say, Come Let's Go Away or something like that because the title to me makes no grammatical sense whatsoever. It's boggling my mind. If anybody out there wants to explain why they chose that title or can make it more grammatical sense in my head, please enlighten me. Because I thought it was really weird that they named it Come Let's Away. It's really odd. It's really, 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 really odd. But this episode, just like last week, Series Acclamation Mill can really tug at your heartstrings. So this episode, I just watched it this morning because I haven't had time to watch it because I was, it's Valentine's Day weekend. So I was spending time with my wife, okay? Going out to dinner and stuff like that, going to a really nice restaurant in Minneapolis, trying to do something artsy yesterday. Couldn't do it because it was super busy. But I wanted to say that because I was busy celebrating Valentine's Day with my wife because that's more important. Happy wife, happy life. So, but I haven't had a chance to watch it till this morning. So bear with me. So like I said, Come Let's Away. This episode tugs at your heartstrings because I really enjoyed it very, very much because I thought it was a really great episode. The Furies are freaking awesome. By the way, the Furies were freaking awesome. They were ugly mofos, for lack of a better. I was saying it out loud to myself when I was watching it, but I'm trying to rein in the swearing here. These were ugly butt ass people. These were ugly people, and it was great. The uglier, the eviler, the better. I always think it's great for a good baddie. But this starts the careening towards the finale regarding News Braca. And I hope he dies, by the way. After what he's done in this episode to push this asshole. Sorry. Okay, I can probably get away with like one or two swearing words, but probably not more than that. But definitely this is an episode that was great. We have Bobby, the Vulcan, who's a total smartass. I think he's a total smartass. Quotes a 900-year-old Vulcan. He quotes Spock, and stuff like that. Come on. You'd rather bring up Spock while you're not even mentioning the word Spock? Come on. You could have done that. I mean, granted, everyone knew it. But he could have done that. Could have done that very much. Could have done it. But, damn it, they had to kill him. He takes a bullet for the team and dies, which I thought was really interesting. The Vulcan sacrificed himself like that. I didn't expect that. I wonder how his colleague, the woman, the girl who was always with him, I wonder how she's gonna react, because we saw Kyle react to it, and he acted like he was romantically involved with him, which I thought was really interesting. He acted like after he died, it's like no. He was acting like he had been romantically involved with him, which I don't mind, but I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was a really interesting dynamic if it was. And Tarima, holy crap, folks, she can kill with her screaming, which I thought was really interesting. Kind of reminds me of the Kelpian who caused the burn, but a little bit, just a little bit. Because I thought the way that, okay, nothing personal against the burn at all, because it's a great science concept. It's a great concept to start this far future era of Star Trek for season 3 and Discovery and beyond. But I thought the reveal of how it all happened was one of the most stupidest ways, one of the stupidest things ever in Star Trek. So I thought it was one of the most stupidest things ever. So the way it was revealed and how it came about was really stupid. But the burn itself is not that bad. Burn itself is not that bad. But definitely the way it was revealed and stuff like that, no. That was stupid. That was one of the most stupidest decisions I ever thought Star Trek could ever do. Because I thought it was dumb. I really thought it was dumb. And it's nothing, and I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. I'm not trying to gatekeep. If you liked it, great. I don't mind you. I don't have a problem with you. But I thought it was one of the most stupidest concepts ever for Star Trek. I really thought it was. The way it was revealed. The way it was revealed was dumb. The concept of it was great. You know, it could have been just all mysterious and been done with it. But no, it had to be a Kelpian who cried out for his mommy. But no. But I thought it was interesting for that. But definitely, I thought it was interesting. The whole episode is great. You know, it starts out with I thought it was the weirdest thing that ever started. Like, I really do appreciate the fact that they're cognizant of the fact that they were cognizant of people who are prone to seizures by you know, and stuff like that. Those kind of situations where, like, you know, sudden flashes and so that can cause a seizure. You know, they did that right away. They had a little disclaimer at the beginning saying, like, this, some of the scenes may be photosensitive viewers and stuff like that. I can get it. I get it. I like that. You know, they're being cognizant of the fact, because, you know, sometimes this era of Star Trek has relied a lot on that, and it could be, it could be hard for Star Trek fans who are sensitive to that kind of thing. So I thought that was good to do that. But the way the whole thing starts with a sex scene, really, really, okay, that's your decision, folks. That's your decision. If you want to start out with a sex scene, that's fine. But I thought it was interesting, folks. The episode was awesome. The episode was great. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. There's 3. There's only 4 more: 7, 8, 9, and 10. 9, we know is going to be directed by Jonathan Frakes, so we know that for sure. He's revealed it. He directed the first half of the finale, which is episode 9. So that will be in a few weeks from now. But definitely enjoyed it for what it was worth and stuff like that. Great episode. Loved it. It's great. The episode's awesome. So I give Come What's Away 9 times 9. I mean, 5 out of 5. You know, it was great. It was all great and stuff like that. And, you know, I think it took a slight. It wasn't one of my favorites, but it was still great. You know, it wasn't one of my favorites. You know, I loved Serious Acclamation Mill more than Come What's Away, but that's just my opinion about it. Because, you know, you're watching this live stream or listening to it hear my opinion about it, huh? So that's the end of the things. I just think the episode. I mean, the episode's great in what it is. You know, hopefully Tarima can recover and stuff like that for the, finale and stuff like that. So we'll know soon enough and stuff like that. So, so we're gonna wrap it up now because it's over a half hour. It's not that bad, you know. If I do over a half hour, it's a technically full episode, stuff like that. So keep on the lookout for episode 115 on Friday, and then we'll be back and Crusher Convo on Friday too. Watch me on Crusher Convo talking about Star Trek Discovery. It's her 4th season premiere, so that's kind of nice to hear that she's going to start her 4th season with yours truly, because I was on the show last summer with talking about the Sons of Picard. So that was really interesting. It was really fascinating to talk about that. But this is going to be fun because I'm looking forward to talking to her about Discovery, because I'm slowly watching it while she's watching it for the first time. Well, Jesse's watching it for the first time. So it's going to be fun. So watch for me on Crusher Convo. And then we're getting close to the end of the month already. So we'll be back next Sunday to talk about season 1, episode 7 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy, and when we're doing it then. So until then, take care. and live long and prosper.